What's up, kids? It's your boy, Santa Claus. Oh, how you doing, everybody? About half a year ago, namely on the 15th of June, I uploaded a video. Get out of here. And that video would mark the start of my YouTube journey. Ever since then, I've already had my fair share of milestones and setbacks. For the first time in my life, I've had strangers compliment me on my work. And I'd love to say it's the first time strangers insulted me online, but obviously we've reached that milestone a long time ago. I've had people subscribe to the channel, and I've had people unsubscribe. And obviously, in these 6 months, I've produced quite a few videos, and some of them weren't very good. Well, one might argue that none of them are very good, but some of them are really, really bad. And today, why don't we take a look at the worst online mistakes I have made in the past 6 months. So why don't you make yourself comfortable, grab a Christmassy drink like some apple cider, eggnog, or some hard liquor, and join me on this journey through the top 5 worst videos on this channel. Whoa, careful there. Cheers! Didn't think that one through. Next take! And now, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at number 5. Number 5. Quick Take Islanders. Formerly known as gaming snacks, and that name is a whole other disaster, but as you can see, we're kicking things off rather lightly here, because that isn't so much a bad video as I felt it was just a very generic video. It lacked any sort of identity. To be honest, when I was done with it, it felt like just another Hook Me, only shorter and without a timer, and that wasn't the goal of this series. Not to mention that the second half of this video was just me advertising my social media, and a call to action, which you all ignored, by the way. That's not the way to get presents, just throwing that out there, okay? In short, it lacked character and a clear goal. Now, this Quick Take series is still finding its way. I'm still testing things out with it. It's not quite there yet. But I can say that I'm much more satisfied with the other 2 installments of it, especially the icy one that a lot of you people missed. But hey, your loss. And with that, let's go on to number 4. Number 4. Dumpster Fire. Why paid Day 1 DLC is unacceptable. I 100% stand behind what I said in that video. Paid Day 1 DLC is unacceptable and should not ever happen. But it is how I said it that's a problem. Now look, I like swearing. I think swearing is fucking grand. But it becomes a problem if you stop focusing on facts and instead focus on swearing and insulting game developers. It ends up turning the video in just another rant. And sure, ranting is part of the Dumpster Fire series, but I don't want it to devolve into just insulting people. There will be some cursing, there will be some swearing, I will insult some people and I will insult some companies. But alongside that, I want to draw serious attention to actual problems and underlie that with actual facts. But in that video, it just turned too much towards the cursing side. I've been trying to avoid that since then. Number 3. Hook Me. Kingdoms of Amalur. Re-Reckoning. And now we're getting into some dicey territory. We have taken the first step towards videos that I can barely stomach to rewatch myself. Now, what's wrong with Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning? The video, that is. Well, it has 3 main problems. For one, at 13 minutes of length, it is too long. I know, the YouTube algorithm, your videos have to be over 10 minutes. Fuck the YouTube algorithm. My views come from Steam reviews. And my audience seems to enjoy videos from 8 to 12 minutes of length. That is pretty much the sweet spot. Anything longer than that does not do well, usually. But that's the least severe problem of this video. And the second issue goes hand in hand with this one. I focus too much on the detail. It's a first impression series. I should try to give an overview of what I experienced in my first few hours. On games that I've already played a lot or that I enjoy a lot, and remember, Kingdoms of Amalur, I've played the original extensively, I tend to focus too much on details that nobody really cares about. And obviously these drag the video out to 13 plus minutes. So it's too long because it's too detailed, and it's too detailed because I'm an idiot. And last but certainly not least, in fact it's probably the most severe issue, is that it's not well thought out. You see, this video was released, I think, one day after the game's release. And usually with HookMe's, I record the footage and then I take 1 or 2 days to really gather my thoughts. I think of topics that I want to talk about and how to convey them properly. But that didn't happen for this video. I did everything in a single day. So really, I ended up just recording something, which is probably why I got so lost in details, because I wasn't really sure what to say. And that cocktail of tiny and big problems ended up creating one mess of a video that I do not recommend you watch. Now, I learned from my mistakes. There was one more time where I tried to do a video on a very short time schedule, which was a cyberpunk video. Exactly. I did what I could for that one beforehand. I even recorded some of the voice lines that didn't require actual game knowledge or game footage beforehand. Now, that video has its own share of problems, namely that I only encountered how freaking buggy it was after 5 to 10 hours. So don't watch that one either. But point being, I learned from my mistakes. Kingdoms of Amalur was a pretty bad video, and let's hope it never happens again. And with that, let's just move on to number 2. Number 2. Let's Play Shadow Corridor, Episode 4. Okay, look. I swear I can do gameplay commentary, but not on horror games. On horror games, I'm too busy shitting my pants to give you colorful and varied commentary. I just end up cursing a lot, and because fuck is my favorite curse word, it just ends up being an endless stream of fucks. So I have a lot of problems with the entire series in general, namely that it's mostly just me cursing. But episode 4 in particular was just horrible. Which is such a shame, because it could have been such a good episode. Really, after I recorded the footage for episode 4, I was pretty stoked. I ended up getting a lot of great jump scares, and I ended up not cursing all the time. I talked about other stuff, namely how I probably wouldn't be as scared anymore now that episode 3 was behind us. But then, it all came crashing down when I found out that I didn't actually record video footage. And honestly, I still don't know what I should have done. I decided to re-record it and replicate it as best as I can, and to just shoehorn in those audio files from the first recording whenever possible. And it just ended up being a jumbled mess that is absolutely no fun to watch. It is a stain on an already poor series. Honestly, I don't want to talk about it in length because I don't know what to say. It's awful. Go see for yourself, although I'd certainly recommend you don't. It's just, it's bad. It's bad, I don't know what to say. Please, let's move on. But before we get to number 1, let's take a look at some honorable mentions, shall we? Honorable mentions. The entire Evolutionz series. Now don't get me wrong, I love Evolutionz. I still play that game literally every day. Very seldomly will there be a day where I don't play. And when this channel started out, it was supposed to be about Evolutionz. Obviously, I never expected anything big from these videos. Rhythm games in general are a very niche topic, and Evolutionz in particular isn't even widely known within that niche. It's not Osu or DJ Max. But that wouldn't have been a problem. It only became a problem once I took up an interest in making other kinds of videos as well. Because suddenly people would subscribe to the channel for basically my opinion on different kinds of games. And then always getting these notifications of some rhythm game that you don't even care about, I felt would actively harm the channel. Which is when I had to make a decision and decided to migrate the Evolutionz series to the second channel, where it is still going strong to this day. Well, kind of. It's on a little bit of a hiatus, but just because I have to become better to deliver whoever is interested the best kind of content. Second entry on the list of honorable mentions. Hook Me, Other Side. Now let me be perfectly clear. Despite what you people said, I do not think this is the worst video on the channel. Because yes, this video has the worst like to dislike ratio out of all of them, which honestly made my heart bleed a little because I was really proud of that video and I like the game. I put so many hours into this goddamn video and you all of you hate it. And I don't think it's a bad video. I do, however, think it is a bad first impression. Because once again, although it isn't a game that I knew before, it is one that I really liked and that I put a lot of hours into in the time between recording the footage and actually recording the voice lines. So once again, I ended up going into too much detail. It's more like a half-assed review than a first impressions. But it's not a bad video. And with that, let's get it over with. Let's take a look at number 1. Drum roll, please. Good enough. Number 1. Hook Me, Torchlight Free. Ah yes, so we have finally arrived at the bane of my YouTube existence. The Torchlight Free video. Now, there is so much wrong with this one video. This is, I can actually not rewatch the entire thing. It bores me to death, and it pains me to do so. Now, where do I even start? I've made a first impressions of an early access title, which is not something I want to do. I have my fair share of problems with early access. I might do a video on that sometime, but bottom line, I don't want to do first impressions on early access titles. I don't know what got into me. I was probably just clout chasing, hoping to get a lot of views if I get out an early Torchlight Free video. But that, deservedly so, backfired horribly. Because we encounter a lot of problems that we've already seen on this list. At 16 minutes of length, it's way too long. Nobody wants to sit through 16 minutes of me rambling about Torchlight in detail. I have put hundreds of hours into the Torchlight franchise, and so once again, I ended up talking about tiny details that don't matter, that nobody cares about, and that are still subject to change anyways. It was rushed, it was not well thought out, and the comparisons I've made to other games were outdated. I have thought many times about deleting this video altogether, but I feel like I can't really do it now because some of you are probably curious just how bad it is. You know what? Why don't you go ahead and dislike that video and not the other side one? But really, it's just a bad video. It's long, it's boring, I hate it, I hate everything about it, I hate myself for making it. Let's just hope that never happens again. And let's not even talk about it anymore. That's the number 1 spot on my list. Fuck that video. And that also marks the end of our journey through the top 5 worst videos on this channel. Now, some of you might have suggestions of your own, and if that is the case, you know what to do. Keep them to yourself. The last thing I need is you people running around telling me, oh hey, that's a shitty video, how come that isn't on the list? But you know how much I appreciate each and every one of you. Some of you have been here from the very start, some of you have just recently joined, and some of you are probably gonna peace out right after this video. But regardless, I wish each of you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. See you on the other side.